Tell me about the new book and project that you have going on.
Well, Primal is the newest book that we have out, and that's nice, gritty, a little bit on the saucy side, urban fantasy, and it was a I can't talk.
That's okay.
Fantastic project to work on, and Lain had a diabolical character in that one.
Me?
Yeah.
What was your character?
There's plenty of diabolical characters in that one. I designed a particular hitman.
Mako is his name.
Yeah, and
Off the Mako Shark.
he was
okay. Yeah.
kind of in the tradition of Goodfellas, your no nonsense, kind of in your face kind of character, but he's also got some dimensions that I think are probably a little bit confusing to people because he ends up having a lot of contradictions that are not answered in the book. So he turned out to be very interesting. He's really interesting to write because of the hypocrisies that he holds. It was very interesting to write about.
Cool. How do you develop a character like that? Like, how do you even start?
Well, I think like with drawing or painting, you have a shape that you want, and you start with, okay, we want a hitman. And after studying some true crime and looking at articles and stuff like that about some of the Chicago crime lords and stuff like that, and the personality types tended to be very contradictory. Like they didn't really have like okay, this is what a hitman is. Just about anybody could be a hitman or a hit person. And so we kind of built off that, and we was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and put some emotional and intellectual kind of peeves and desires that he has, and just kind of mix it all together and see what happens. And ultimately, you don't really discover a character until you start writing about them, and then they kind of come alive and they tell you what they need as you're writing, or what isn't working. But usually character design starts with a very basic one-page description of what you want out of them, and then sort of surrealistically the character just jumps out at you and tells you while you're writing what kind of person they want to be in the story. It's very interesting.
Cool. So you guys worked on that together?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We also created a fantasy world that we just got the contract for, and that'll be out in early 2013. And we worked on developing the whole world together and creating all the characters, writing the story, and that'll be a good... the Primal series will be about 3 to 6 books, depending. And then the Weeping Dark series is going to be about 6 to 9 books. Epic fantasy. The heroine in that is a female, and I love her. She's so spunky, and she has a sword and a shield. She's great.
Cool. So do you guys have the stories already kind of written in your head before you have a series? Before you have a contract for a series?
Yeah.
Yes. You do?
Yeah. We generally only write the first book first because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't sell and you start writing the second and the third book, then you're kind of out of luck. You know, you just spent a couple of years on something that, is going to be in your drawer. But we know the whole story in general form from beginning to end before we even write book 1.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
usually we design the entire plot, and we have a finish point and end point, and then we scale back and say, okay, this looks like book 1.
yep.
Okay.
And that's how we do it. And then from there we'll do more foundation and formatting to the plot to make sure that the plot works for that section of the story. And from there it's just a matter of organizing in chapters, and we get a basic idea of what each chapter should look like, and the scene and sequence of events, and then, the characters go in and rewrite it.
Yeah.
And it just comes out.
Huh.
And once the characters get on there, it just takes on a whole new dimension. An entirely new dimension, because they get kind of stubborn and persnickety, and something that you planned out maybe doesn't quite work so well in their reality as it did in your theory. So you end up having to switch a lot once they get on the page and the life just is breathed into them. But that's good. It makes for a more dynamic, story structure.
Right. What's it like working with another person, or your significant other, in writing a story?
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
It is. It's a lot of fun. I couldn't really imagine doing it a different way, really, because we spend a lot of time just kicking around ideas, cool, what we want to do this story next, and bouncing ideas off one another, and we both kind of have different fortes, where he's really good at action scenes and being able to make the action flow, and awesome with weaponry, what you can and can't do with, say, a crossbow. Like I wrote this one scene in a novella that's coming out this year, and I had the crossbow firing awfully fast, and he's like, it takes a lot of time to, set the bolts, so I had to make it a special dwarven crossbow that the dwarves made that can fire fast indeed. But he's awesome at catching that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And Raven is very good with character depth. She can make a character out of anything, which is good because, when it comes to character, the more characters you have, even the environment kind of takes on its own character. And she always seems to view things in, the personhood kind of perspective. And that's where we get all kinds of, animal kind of characters and interactions, like with Thor and Bailey in the Apparitions series. Thor is very much an interesting character, even though he's just a dog. But on page, he's not just a dog. He plays a lot of, small but important roles, and she's very, very good at adding depth, whether it be inanimate objects or the environment. Everything seems to feel like a living, breathing thing. Kind of like the Disney aspect where, Disney makes a lot of things become, come alive and human-like, and Raven's very good at adding that without getting really strange or Disney-like.
Goofy kind of.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But she's very good at that, and she's excellent with plot and bringing together a lot of different people and a lot of different paths, and making the story engaging the whole way through. So you don't have, like a body in the beginning of a thriller, and then there's a bunch of flat stuff, and then by the end, something finally happens. The story's engaging from chapter to chapter, and largely because she's so good at being able to tie and weave plot and people together.
Where do you guys get inspiration from?
Everywhere. Everywhere. Dreams. Dreams are a good one. I have a lot of very vivid dreams that they actually play out like a movie. And there's some points that really don't make sense when I wake up. They're cool in the dream, and you're like, oh, that's really cool. And then you think about it, and you're like, that doesn't make logical sense, though. But you can go through and tweak and say, okay, some of them start with characters. The Apparitions series started with Bailey, the heroine of the novels. And she just kind of waltzed on and said, hey, this is me. And it took a while before I had a story to go with her. But Primal started with the what if there are werewolves and vampires now. Where would they be? What would they be doing? What would they be like? And then that actually started with Arvon, the hero. He's a very gritty, true werewolf, that full fangs and claws. You know, there's no softening of him at all. He's alpha male, and that's what he is. And he plays really good off Ray, the heroine of that series. Farath, which Weeping Dark is in, we started that, when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
We were both really heavy into gaming, and we wanted to make our own fantasy world, and you know, we used to role play our characters, and a lot of those characters come alive in this book. So, and again, it was the what if. You know, what if we put these characters in this situation? What would happen?
Yeah.